Within about 15 seconds of your paycheck hitting your bank account, most people have already spent half of it. Not in real life, in their head. Before the deposit notification even fades from the screen, the brain quietly starts assigning that money to things that don't exist yet. The phone upgrade suddenly feels reasonable. The shoes sitting in your online cart suddenly look more affordable. Ordering food 3 extra nights this week starts sounding harmless. Behavioral economists call this mental accounting, a concept associated with Nobel Prize winner Richard Thaler. Instead of treating money as one unified system, our brains divide it emotionally. New money, fun money, money I deserve to spend. And once that mental spending happens, something subtle but powerful occurs. The paycheck is already gone. This is the moment almost no one talks about, yet it quietly determines a huge part of your financial future. Because the instant a paycheck arrives is where financial lives begin to split in two. One path feels normal. You celebrate a little. You spend a little. You promise yourself you'll save whatever remains at the end of the month. The other path feels boring. You pause. You assign the money before emotion does. You let a system decide first. One path feels easy. The other quietly builds wealth. And here's the uncomfortable reality. Most people do not fail financially because of one catastrophic mistake. They fail because of hundreds of tiny payday decisions that felt harmless in the moment. Retention spike number 1, the illusion of being fine. From the outside, many people look financially stable. The rent gets paid, groceries show up, subscriptions renew. Life appears completely normal, but underneath the surface, something fragile is happening. Every payday acts like a reset button. Money arrives and slowly leaks away through dozens of decisions that never feel important enough to notice. Coffee here, a streaming service there, a quick delivery order because the day felt long. None of those choices feel dangerous. Yet together they quietly shape an entire financial future. According to the 2026 Emergency Savings Report from Bankrate, only 47% of Americans say they could cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. That means more than half of households would feel stress from a single, unexpected bill. Not a medical disaster, not losing a job, just a small disruption, a brake repair, a dental issue, a broken appliance. That is not only a spending problem, it is a structural problem. Retention block, the paycheck drift effect. Imagine 2 co-workers who earn the exact same salary. They live in the same city. They receive their paychecks on the same day every 2 weeks. During the first few months, their lives look identical. Both pay rent, both buy groceries, both enjoy small comforts. But one small difference slowly appears. One person treats payday like a moment of decision. The other treats payday like a moment of relief. The first person assigns money immediately. Rent is set aside. Savings move automatically. Investments happen quietly. The second person relaxes because the bank balance suddenly looks larger. Spending expands to match the feeling of abundance. At first, the difference is invisible. After 1 year, the gap becomes noticeable. After 5 years, the gap becomes life-changing. What began as 2 identical paychecks slowly turned into 2 very different futures. The emotional truth people need to hear. Here at this point, many people assume the issue is discipline. They think they are bad with money, weak with temptation, somehow behind everyone else. But in reality, that is usually not the problem. The real issue is simpler and far more common. Most people are trying to build financial freedom on top of a paycheck that has never been organized. They are asking willpower to do the job of a system. And willpower cannot fight your rent, your habits, your environment, your notifications, your cravings, and your exhaustion every 2 weeks for the next 20 years. A system can. The first number that actually matters before investing, before budgeting apps, before passive income strategies. There is one question that quietly determines everything. What percentage of your income is already spoken for by necessities? Not things you enjoy having, actual necessities. Housing, basic groceries, utilities, transportation required for work, insurance, essential health care. That number matters because every financial strategy lives or dies based on how much room remains after survival is covered. Retention spike number 2, the housing reality. Nobody mentions personal finance advice often says you should keep necessities below 60% of your take-home pay. That is a great benchmark. But the reality in 2026 is more complicated. Mortgage rates have hovered near 6% for many borrowers. Housing costs have surged across most cities. Millions of households now spend more than 30% of their income on housing alone. So if your necessities rise above 60%, it does not automatically mean you are irresponsible. Sometimes it simply means the economic structure around you has changed. Understanding that pressure matters because once you see the real constraint, you stop blaming yourself for symptoms and start solving the actual problem. Real paycheck example. Imagine someone earning $75,000 per year and bringing home roughly $4,700 each month after taxes. Their monthly essentials might look like this: rent $1,800, utilities and insurance $300, groceries $500, transportation $400, minimum debt payments $250. Before saving a single dollar, they have already spent $3,250. That leaves about $1,450. Suddenly the question, where did my paycheck go, finally makes sense. Half the money was already promised away before the deposit even arrived. Storytelling case study. Jason's paycheck. Jason is a 34-year-old marketing coordinator. For years, he believed he simply was not good with money. His paycheck averaged about $4,800 per month after taxes. Every month looked the same. Bills got paid, a few small purchases happened, some weekends were fun, and by the end of the month, his bank account drifted close to zero again. Nothing dramatic, nothing irresponsible, just normal life repeating itself. One evening, Jason looked through his bank history for the previous 12 months. The results shocked him. He had earned more than $55,000 after taxes that year. Yet his savings balance was barely $2,000. The money had not disappeared in one giant mistake. It had dissolved quietly through ordinary paydays. Jason made one small change. On his next payday, he created a structure: automatic retirement contribution, automatic emergency savings, automatic debt payments. The entire system took less than 15 minutes to set up. 2 years later, his emergency fund covered 6 months of expenses. His retirement account had quietly passed $40,000. His lifestyle barely changed. What changed was the system running in the background. Psychological shock spike. Minute 6. Here is a reality most people never calculate. If someone earning $50,000 per year wastes just $15 per day on unconscious spending, that equals more than $5,400 per year. Over 20 years, that becomes more than $100,000. If that same money had been invested instead, it could approach $300,000. A few casual daily decisions can quietly erase a third of $1 million. Retention block, the silent compounding trap. Most people imagine financial mistakes as dramatic events: a failed investment, a bad business decision, a major loss. In reality, the biggest financial mistake often feels invisible. It happens slowly through routine, a streaming subscription that continues for years, food delivery that becomes a weekly habit, small purchases that feel harmless because they fit comfortably within the monthly budget. None of these choices ruin a financial life on their own, but together they quietly compete against compounding. And compounding is powerful on both sides. It can build wealth, or it can slowly drain it. Protecting your financial reputation. The first job after necessities is simple but powerful. Protect your financial reputation. That means paying every debt on time, every time. Credit scores might feel abstract, but they affect real life constantly. Payment history alone makes up roughly 35% of a typical credit score. One missed payment can affect mortgage rates, car loans, apartment approvals, and even some job screenings. In school, 97% sounds excellent. In credit behavior, 97% on time payments can still look risky. Consistency matters more than perfection. The most boring wealth builder. Once minimum payments are handled, the next step is building the financial buffer that protects your life from chaos. The emergency fund. Emergency savings feel boring. No one celebrates watching money sit quietly in a savings account. But boring money becomes powerful money the moment life becomes unpredictable. Home repairs, medical bills, and sudden travel expenses appear without warning. Without a buffer, those costs move instantly onto high-interest credit cards. That is where financial stress multiplies. An emergency fund is not only financial protection, it is emotional stability. Psychological shock spike. Minute 8. The average credit card interest rate now hovers near 20%. That means a $2,000 emergency repair placed on a credit card could quietly cost hundreds of dollars in extra interest if it takes months to repay. The repair may last one afternoon. The debt can follow you for years. Retention spike number 3. The $780,000 delay. Now we reach the part everyone understands intellectually, but almost no one feels emotionally. Compounding. Imagine investing $400 per month starting at age 25 with an average annual return around 8%. By age 65, that could grow to roughly $1.4 million. Start the same habit at 35 instead, and the ending balance drops closer to $620,000. That delay costs roughly $780,000. But the numbers hide something deeper. That gap is not just money. It may be the difference between retiring on time or working 8 to 10 additional years because your investments did not have enough time to grow. Psychological shock spike. Minute 11. Financial freedom rarely disappears in dramatic moments. It disappears quietly through ordinary paydays. And that means the opposite is also true. Financial freedom is usually built quietly through ordinary paydays handled well. Automation beats motivation. Most people assume financial success comes from discipline, but the data suggests something else. Success often comes from defaults. When saving requires repeated motivation, it usually fails eventually. When saving happens automatically, it continues quietly in the background, even on stressful days, even during busy months, even when life becomes chaotic. Automation turns good decisions into default behavior, and default behavior builds wealth. The useful payday model. Return to the $4,700 monthly paycheck example. After $3,000 in necessities, roughly $1,700 remains. A simple structure might look like this: $250 into an emergency fund, $300 toward extra debt payments, $250 invested for retirement, $200 into sinking funds for repairs, travel, or future expenses, $700 left for lifestyle spending. Every dollar now has a job, and psychologically something changes. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" because the system already answered the question. Your future was paid first. When income changes, the system changes. Automation is not a permanent set and forget system. It is a living structure. When income increases, savings should increase before lifestyle expands. When debt disappears, the payment should immediately be redirected toward investing. Otherwise, lifestyle inflation quietly absorbs every raise. Retention block. Future you. Imagine two versions of yourself 10 years from today. Both versions worked hard, both earned similar incomes. But one version quietly built a system that protected every paycheck. The other simply trusted that things would work out eventually. 10 years later, the difference becomes visible. One version has options: time flexibility, reduced stress. The other version still feels trapped by monthly obligations. The difference did not appear overnight. It appeared slowly through hundreds of ordinary paydays. 2 viral truths about money. Quote 1. Money rarely disappears in dramatic moments. It disappears quietly through everyday decisions. Quote 2. Your financial future is not built on one perfect investment. It is built on hundreds of ordinary paydays handled well. The real payday question. The next time your paycheck lands in your account, pause for a moment. Not long, just long enough to ask a different question. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" ask something more powerful. What does this money need to do before I touch it? Because financial freedom usually does not disappear in one giant mistake. It disappears through 100 tiny payday decisions, and it is built the exact same way, one paycheck at a time. Thanks for watching.